Welcome back. Hello, I'm uncertain about where to begin. Me, 26 female, and my boyfriend, 28 male, met via Instagram some 4 years ago. He, a total stranger at the time, had liked my birthday post, and the rest was history. We are both shy and reserved individuals, but together we click in a way I had never experienced before. We went on many more dates and fell deeply in love. Our relationship is serious to the point where we recently began discussing marriage, and we introduced each other to our families to discuss proceedings as well. Despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, we managed to stay together and find ways to make it work. For context, I've had a difficult upbringing and have experienced significant emotional trauma. Although this doesn't excuse my actions, I have a history of brief infidelities in my past relationships too, though none of my partners were ever aware. I've been working with a therapist for several years, and I thought I had addressed the problem head on. I thought I was ready to settle down, commit to a serious relationship, but that all changed in an instant. Around 5 months ago, problems began to arise in our relationship. Shortly before that, we moved in together. The arguments were nothing out of the ordinary for a couple living together, just a little quibbling about the daily stuff. But I felt moving in together made us lose the spark. It has happened to me before, and I dreaded it would happen again. And I pushed moving in together as further away as possible, but with marriage talks and with families breathing down our necks, it was inevitable. For context, all my past infidelity situations arose with my live-in partners as well. I started being difficult. I was blowing up every little mistake my boyfriend did and would always pick fights with him. Despite all this, he stood by me. He took care of me and pleaded with me to seek help, even offering to be part of my healing process. He was the most caring, selfless person I had ever met. He understood my struggles and showed me a love I had never experienced. But I convinced myself that he had fallen out of love with me. I was delusional and couldn't take responsibility for my behavior. On one of these days, I made plans to meet up with my coworkers. We met at a bar and started drinking. We're all in our 20s and there were guys too. I know going drinking with men never ends well, and on this night, it didn't end well for me either. I ended up going to one of the male coworkers' place that night, and we hooked up. We were both hella drunk, and neither of us remembered much of what happened the next day. I woke up, got dressed, and went home like nothing happened. When I went home, I found my boyfriend worried sick about me and contemplating calling police. Once he saw me, he started shooting questions, and I answered truthfully, except for the part I slept with a coworker. Instead, I just said I crashed at a friend's. He said some harsh things, but in the end, we made up and got about our lives. Things were kinda awkward between my coworker and I, but we operate on different floors, so don't really have to interact or anything. I was really ready to put everything behind me and move on with wedding planning when something happened. I unfortunately hooked up with my coworker again. We were at a birthday party of one of our mutual friends whom we didn't even know was a friend of us both. He came up to me and apologized for what happened, and one thing led to another. We ended up hooking up in my friend's bathroom. I don't know what came over me. I just lost control over my being completely for those 15 minutes. But then I realized what I had done again. I wanted to explode right there. I wished the ground would open up and swallow me whole. I immediately left the party without even telling my friend and drove back home crying. It was past 10 p.m. when I reached home to my boyfriend. He was waiting for me, and when he saw my tear-stricken face, he got worried at once. So I told him everything between loud sobs. At first he was confused, but then he started listening intently. I told him of both encounters and didn't spare any details. It devastated him. This was the first time I had caused him this much pain, and it was the culmination of everything. He said he just knew that I hadn't crashed at a friend's place like I had said that first time. He said he knew I was lying, but he couldn't verify, so he opted to trust me. And then I shat on him again, according to him. He doesn't want to work things out. In addition, he has promptly rushed off to tell his family and have put a damper on our wedding planning too. I'm seeking advice on how to regain his trust after causing him so much pain. He's naturally anxious and understandably doubts my character. I do believe that I have changed, at least in some meaningful ways. When I reflect on the situation, I genuinely feel heartbroken for the pain I caused him. How do I deal with the guilt of knowing I inflicted so much pain on someone who cared for and loved me deeply? The grief has triggered a depressive episode that I can't seem to escape. I know right now he thinks separation is best, and yet I still have intense feelings for him. We were together for 4 years. I genuinely appreciate you taking the time to read this and allowing me to share. I needed to express these thoughts. Any advice regarding my situation is welcome, even if it may be difficult to hear. Update. Thanks everybody for everything, even the harsh messages. I needed that, I guess. Would like to add that people make mistakes and I'm human, and so are you. There's no reason to be incredibly cruel to another fellow human being and act like you can do no wrong. Anyway, here's the update. My boyfriend, or ex-boyfriend now, wasn't very receptive of me after my confession. I tried to get him to sit down with me so we can discuss the direction of our relationship, but he never gave me the time of day. He ultimately resorted to informing his family, as in his whole extended family, on the matter without even discussing with me prior. I'm currently trying to recover from the effects of having the entire world know of my little slip-up, and everybody making a huge frickin' deal about them. I'm trying to obtain a restraining order so he won't cross into my personal space any more than necessary. Also, me and my coworker have decided to give it a shot, just to see where it takes us. He has a partner he's been with since high school, but he says the relationship has run its course. So yeah, that's where we're at. Comments. You should have drawn the line and broken up if living together was intolerable. Instead, you did your side of wrong. Obviously, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Could there be a reset in episode 2 which will be very different from before? Yeah, people change. Is that the case with you? Time will tell. Doesn't look like so far. You seem to view your cheating as an inconvenience rather than something that imploded his life. So I feel there's no hope there. Give it a try. Not impossible, but improbable. Most likely your best chance is to at least learn from failure and start anew with genuine reset with this new guy. You had the option to keep it a secret, so it's commendable that you chose to be honest and tell him, despite knowing how he might react. It's important to remember that it was just a sexual encounter, not a crime. Time cannot be reversed, and now he has the choice to either forgive and move on or remain single. Don't spend years of your life trying to fix something that may not be fixable. Story 2. I'm at a loss for what to do. It's clear that I need to tell him, but I can't even comprehend the situation myself. One of my coworkers was retiring, so we all went out for drinks and then to a club. It was a work thing, so spouses were not invited. My husband expressed concerns before I set out, because he knows how I can get after a couple of drinks. I was drunk after the second drink, no doubt about it, but kept drinking. My head is still pounding from the night. I vaguely remember being at the bar, then at the club. Then I remember this coworker hitting on me. I reciprocated, I think, because I remember leaving the others in the club and driving away with him to his place. I woke up today morning, saw him asleep next to me. That's when everything started coming to me. I grabbed my clothes and hastily left. I walked for what felt like a long time until I managed to get a taxi and arrived home around 6 a.m. My husband had a night shift yesterday, so he hasn't been home since yesterday morning, and I haven't seen him since. I have no idea what I'm going to say to him, and I haven't talked to my coworkers about it. I can't believe I ended up cheating with my coworker. I haven't even been married for a whole year yet. I love my husband. I can't understand what the hell I was thinking. Even in my drunken state, I don't know how the idea of cheating on him could have crossed my mind. I don't know what it is with alcohol that makes me lose all my inhibitions. I betrayed my husband, and I can't even remember if I enjoyed it. I don't know what steps to take now. Since coming home, I haven't been able to get out of bed except to vomit. And I don't know if I'll have the courage to look my husband in the eye when he returns in a couple of hours. I feel incredibly sick, both physically and emotionally. I dread contacting my coworkers. They all know what I did, obviously, considering I got in his car right in front of them. Did they try to stop me? I don't know. I can't remember. Yikes, this is a tough situation. It's important to remember that honesty is crucial in a relationship, even when it's difficult. You definitely need to have an open and honest conversation with your spouse about what happened. It might be hard for them to hear, but it's better to come clean and deal with the aftermath than to keep it hidden. Take responsibility for your actions and be prepared to face the consequences. It's a long road to rebuilding trust, but with open communication and effort, it's possible to work through it. Seek therapy or counseling to help navigate the emotions and challenges ahead. Comments. Wow, this is a tough situation. First of all, it's brave of you to acknowledge what you did and the need to tell your husband. Honesty is important, even though it will undoubtedly be a difficult conversation. It's essential to take responsibility for your actions and face the consequences. It's also important to reflect on why this happened and work on preventing similar situations in the future. Remember, mistakes happen, but it's how we learn from them and grow that truly matters. This is a mess. Cheating is never acceptable, regardless of the circumstances. Getting drunk is not an excuse for betraying your spouse. Your husband deserves to know the truth, even though it will surely hurt him. It's time to face the consequences of your actions and take responsibility for the pain you caused. It might be a long road to rebuild trust if that's even possible. Learn from this experience and work on becoming a better person. Let's hope you can learn from your mistakes and never repeat them in the future.